Okay, I'm gonna go over some understanding about cave dwelling because I looked at somebody's post and I instantly knew they had no understanding about where cave dwelling took place. First of all, it was in many locations. I know we harp a lot on the Caucasus Mountains and everything, but that by far is not the only place. If you look in Genesis, in the Bible, it talks about Mount Seir. There were cave dwellers in Mount Seir, okay? And those were the Horites. The Horites were conquered by Edom, and they were completely absorbed into Edom, okay? So there are no Horites left. They got merged in with Edom, and we know how they get merged in: rape, okay? So Edom also lived in Mount Seir, especially after they conquered the Horites. So that was an area that they lived in. In fact, that was the original. The Horites were the original cave dweller before Edom. So now let's get into some of these other places where cave dwelling took place. Yes, there was the Caucasus Mountain, but there is so much beyond the Caucasus Mountain if that's all you think there is. Now, this picture that you're looking at is actually China. This shows you the caves that the Asian cave dwellers were living in. And this is actually in Beijing. So China, the Chinese were also cave dwellers, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so let me show you another place right here. This is also Beijing. Look at the caves. They lived in these caves. All right, this is where Asians were living in caves. So they weren't all in the Caucasus Mountains. All right, this place right here that you're looking at is in Afghanistan. Look at the caves. They were living in these caves, ladies and gentlemen. This is Afghanistan. See this? All of these are caves that they once lived in, all these holes. Afghanistan. All right, so now let's move on. This right here, I know it's kind of old, but you can see the holes all right here. These are caves in Italy where cave dwellers actually lived in Italy. All right, it's very old. But you can still see the holes here where people used to live in. And this is Italy. All right, this last one that I'm going to show you, this is actually in Turkey. So cave dwelling and cave dwellers went on in many, many locations, even within Europe. So yes, we can talk about the Caucasus Mountain, but just know that they lived well beyond that. Okay, all over. These caves were all over. And even the ones I showed you in Beijing, that's not even all of them. There's more in China that they lived in. And these are probably some of the biggest locations in those areas, but there's definitely more. All right, there's even caves in Iran where they lived in. So I just wanted to show you this because when I mentioned Mount Seir, it was almost like I read a post where somebody was actually trying to dismiss Mount Seir and point out the Caucasus Mountain. No, the Caucasus Mountains was just one of many places that these people lived in, one of many. So, I just wanted to show you this so you don't get caught up in just one location where these Caucasoids came from. They actually came from many places all over those regions where there were caves. So, and of course, I showed you Mount Seir. which is still there. I mean, all these caves are still there. They are still there. And these are the ones from Mount Seir. Mount Seir is actually not that far away um, from some of these other regions that you've seen. But Mount Seir is spoken about in Genesis. And Mount Seir is where the original cave dweller was seen for the first time. That's why it's mentioned in Genesis. They came across these people for the first time ever, and this was before the Caucasus Mountain. They ran into these cave dwellers in Mount Seir, and they were known as the Horites. The Horites is actually the original cave dweller. So just tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. And don't forget to hit on that notification bell. Peace, family.